Guys, there are still people on the other side of the border seeing all of this happen. Keep this in mind. Mexican president just sends 10,000 troops to the border. They are not there yet, but they will be there any moment now. You get what I'm saying here, guys? These individuals are going to stop the flow from the Mexican side of the border. All right. Now, there are people legitimately still thinking that they are going to have any type of access to enter in anywhere but the actual border crossing, the official one. They're still just trying to get in, guys. Craziest thing in the world is happening here. But let's go and check this video out immediately. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's do it.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth making some remarks. Let's listen in right now on Live Now from 5.
I can tell you this, because of President Donald Trump, this is a new era at the southern border. A new era of determination, a new era of cooperation, and
on both sides.
At the Defense Department, we are proud to be a part of it. It's amazing to watch what these men and women are doing here every day. The charge that the president has given us to get 100% operational control of the southern border. That means setting the right policy, which we're doing, having the right procedure in place, the right personnel, and ultimately the platforms and systems to maintain it. And I'm proud to be here with Tom Homan today. He's been with us all
That's the man
all day
right there,
long,
guys.
The borders are, whose charge it is to make sure we secure every square inch of the southern border. He and men and women like him have been doing that for decades. And frankly, the Defense Department has been helping on the border for decades. Just not,
Hey, guys, except for the last, 4 years.
not at the level that President Trump has charged us with right now.
Right.
Because we
It's big
believe,
time
and
now.
he believes, that border security is national security. Guys and gals of my generation have spent decades in foreign countries guarding other people's borders. It's about time we secure our own border. Tens of millions of people have poured across this border under Joe Biden's administration, unchecked. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they're coming from. We have no idea what their intentions are. In many ways, under the Biden administration, and Tom knows this better than anybody else, they were facilitated their entry into this country. That stops now under President, and the Defense Department is proud to be a part of it. We have defended other places and other spaces.
Absolutely.
We will defend this line. And in talking to the men and women in uniform, they're proud to be here. They're excited to be here. They're motivated to be here because they're defending their friends, their family, their communities, their church, their schools, their loved ones from an invasion of people whose intentions we don't know. We are going to get control
That's
of
fair
this border.
and valid.
And as I mentioned, to the cartels, all options are on the table. We will secure our border and our men and women guarding it, and we're proud to be here. Tom, do you have any thoughts?
Guys, really quickly, comment here. Okay, so the soldiers are on the border. That's a great thing, absolutely. I just would not like them to be a vanity project, but also at the same time, based off of our Constitution, they really can't even fire back if they're being fired upon, type of thing, guys, right? So there needs to be something that happens that where they actually can do something. I think that'll probably be kind of where we are. Like if we're looking for something that's actually going to be a lasting change here, we need to have these people on the border with the ability to actually do something, not just stand there like statues, guys. Right? But anyway.
Well, look, I've worked for 6 different presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. I joined the board until 1984. The first Trump presidency was a game changer, right? Unprecedented success. 45-year low in illegal immigration. Illegal immigration down 90, as high as 91%, depending on what time frame you looked at. But what I'm seeing here, since he took oath of office, President Trump is a game changer. You saw his first administration successful on the border. I've never seen a military flight remove illegal aliens. That happened. I've never seen a amount of engagement from the military on the border helping secure the border. I've never seen engagement from other law enforcement agencies, whether it's FBI, U.S. Marshals, DEA, DOJ's at the table across the country doing operations. This is a game changer. We will finally succeed in having operational control of our southern border. With this president in charge and my partnership with Pete Hegseth, we're going to make this happen. We will not fail.
shoulder to shoulder in every way. Every square inch is our responsibility. The president has made that charge clear, and we're going to deliver for him. What are your questions?
What does a mission accomplished look like, Mr. Secretary?
Mission accomplished means 100% operational control of the border. Right now, that means a surge of manpower. That means you've seen thousands of active duty and National Guard troops come to the border with additional assets and systems that allow us to surveil. We were just with the helicopter company that's here surveilling that. We've got other ISR assets. Because of President Trump's deft ability to negotiate, we now have 10,000 Mexican troops that are going to be patrolling on the other side of the border. Right. So there's cooperation with Mexico as well. Over time, when we're able to build the border wall as well as the president has said he will do and will do, operational control looks different than just constant manpower, but this is the phase that we're in right now. So the ability to control every portion of the border, underneath, above ground, and above, and by sea, is something we take very seriously, and we will ensure as rapidly as possible happens.
Guys, that would be the perfect ending to this story, let's say. But just because the wall is up, guys, doesn't mean that people are still not going to find a way in. I think that's just a reality. I think that's a big ask to think that it's going to perfectly stop at, like, it's going to be at 100% decline, right? Because we've now seen multiple videos of people legitimately just cutting through the border wall, guys. All right, so we need to work on making sure we have a monitoring system specifically for all of the border.
It's just not about illegal immigration. I'm reading that.
That's right.
Blah. It's just not about illegal immigration. We secure the border. When we lock this down, less Americans going to die from fentanyl. Less women and children be sex trafficked. Less no-inspected terrorists going to sneak in the country. Less gotaways. Less people on terrorist watch lists. This is about national security. Right. Illegal immigration is the basis, but it's about our country's safety and security. And it's about protecting American people. That's why we're here, and that's why we have to secure this border.
Whether you will, USA Today, thanks. Do you have an update on whether you will detain migrants or deportees on military bases? And can you give us an update on that and how you'll pay for it?
Any assets necessary at the Defense Department to support the expulsion and detention of those in our country illegally are on the table, to include, as has been widely reported, Guantanamo Bay, a naval station I spent a year at as a guard back in 2004, 2005. I know that terrain very well. It's the perfect place to provide for migrants who are traveling out of our country through gray tails or other assets, but also hardened criminals. Where are you going to put Tren de Aragua before you send them all the way back? How about a maximum security prison at Guantanamo Bay, where we have the space? So where we have the assets that can support those doing the intervention and arrest, we will provide that, because as Tom said, border security is national security, and that includes assets that only the Defense Department has.
Guys, I would love to know this guy here, Pete Hegseth. Like, what did he do before this? He seems like a really, really good speaker. He understands exactly, let's say, the mission statement of the organization that he is representing. He is very good at this.
Remember, we've had a migrant processing center there for decades. So we've held aliens there before, and we're going to hold them again. This is the time we're going to hold.
Yeah, guys, I don't think that was public information, though, because normally when people mention Guantanamo, we think of the worst of the worsts, right? And I've never heard anything about a migrant settlement, let's say, encampment there, a holding area. I've never heard of that in my life, and I've been following these stories for a really, really long time. So it could just be me. It could just be my ignorance. I have no problem, basically pointing out where I'm ignorant in guys. But hearing Guantanamo Bay is always a scary thing. But Tren de Aragua, definitely, I can see that being a place where you can hold that.
Center there for decades. So we've held aliens there before, and we're going to hold them again. This time, we're going to hold the worst of the worst.
I mean, the Clinton administration had tens of thousands of migrants at Guantanamo Bay. It's been used many times over.
Secretary, these troops aren't able to do enforcement. So what exactly are their day-to-day tasks, and why do you need more?
Well, some troops are able to do enforcement, actually.
Okay,
Operation
some
Lone Star. State-based troops have authority. Federal troops can do what they do is relieve Border Patrol and to have the opportunity to actually do the interdiction. So what's happening right here, which I just talked.
Remember what I was talking about earlier, guys? Right, like the state troops, yeah, I can see that. Like National Guard, you can kind of, the governor can do whatever they want to do with them, right? But when it comes to the federal, like the military guys, they can't really do much. They're there for numbers. I'm telling you. They're basically a vanity project here in this context. I'm not sure they can do anything. And if they were to, we would be setting up for a precedent that I'm not sure we need in our history, guys, right? So, all right.
With a bunch of great E5s who are doing their duty, they're calling in observation to Border Patrol, who then interdict. It's
not
a
doing
process
anything.
that in the past, Tom was telling me, might take 30 minutes. 30 minutes on an indication that someone's crossing the border for there to be a response, because under the Biden administration, the Border Patrol was too busy babysitting migrants who were being processed to enter the country. Now, because crossing the border is illegal and will get you deported, less people are crossing, more assets are calling out the people crossing the border, they're being intercepted and sent back for their false claims of asylum.
That's what they're doing. False claims of asylum. Guys, I've been saying this. You guys have been coming at me in the comments. I'm telling you guys, 80 to 90% of the individuals that have come through the border are lying, right? And that's a recent number from Congress, guys. All right, 80 to 90% of them are committing asylum fraud. They are not here for asylum. Economic migrancy is not cause for asylum, guys.
And so the whole feedback loop creates a disincentive for those who want to cross illegally.
Every task they perform that doesn't require an immigration badge, an immigration authority, puts more badges and guns on the line, puts more badges and gun on the processing, put more badges and guns in securing a border. They're a force multiplier. They're doing things that doesn't require immigration authority. And that is just terrific. We double the manpower down there.
You mentioned the 10,000 troops that Mexico is deploying along the border. What else needs to be done? I mean, we have cartels dropping bombs on drones in South Chihuahua, just like 400 miles south of here. What else needs to be happening?
The first thing we can control is our own border, and we're going to continue to do that.
What does Chihuahua have to do with America? Like, I get it. I mean, I understand the question, right? It's valid. Couldn't the Mexican government be putting, troops in Chihuahua instead of coming to the border? Well, unfortunately, bro, if they don't do something to mitigate the flow of illegal migrants coming into the United States of America, then they're going to get hit with a tariff that the Mexican people are not ready to basically take on. Okay, so I understand what's going on in Chihuahua. That just means that most likely maybe a solid local police. How about you get the corrupt individuals out in the town, and you may be able to do something about the cartels. Right? Unless the person is being paid by the cartel. All right, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I mean, that's basically what I keep seeing in these videos here, guys. All right, but let's continue.
As we outlined. I know the president is in constant dialogue with the president of Mexico as well. I had an opportunity to talk to their head of defense and their head of Navy as well. Engagement and cooperation is an important part of the process. We want them to secure their own territory, their sovereignty, but we reserve the right, should there not be an ability to police international and violent cartels to protect our own sovereignty as well. So we hope Mexico will step up. We expect they will. Exactly. They want peace in their country also, and we look forward to working with them in that process.
Are there current plans for any of the troops stationed along the U.S. border to enter Mexico going after?
Like I said, all options are on the table, but we would be silly to forecast anything that we're going to do. Right now, our mission is to set in a defense and not allow illegal immigration into our country.
Okay, that question that was just asked is basically talking about the fact that the cartels are basically reclassified as like the big bad guy, starts with a T, ends with an ist, right? And so because of that specific reason, of course, the Mexican press is going to be somewhat concerned that if we're setting up troops on the border and you just label them the big bad guys, does that mean that they are now going to invade Mexico and take on the cartels directly on their own on Mexicans' land? That's basically the explanation for that very specific question that was asked there, guys.
Think about President Trump wiping the cartels off, disappearing. What a great gift for the country of Mexico, right? Less journalists being assassinated, less judges being assassinated, less politicians being assassinated. That would be a much safer country. That would be historic to take the criminal cartels in Mexico, who've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world. To take them off the table, that'd be historic. It'd be good for Mexico and good for us.
Another good way to put it is what President Trump has done, whether it's Border Patrol, whether it's ICE, whether it's the military, he's going to take the handcuffs off of our ability ability to do our job. And that allows us to get at the problem in ways the previous administration was never serious about. Yes.
How many troops do you plan to deploy, and will they move into an enforcement role at this point or in the near future?
We are working alongside Border Patrol to ensure they're able to do their job. There's going to be we know that there'll be additional CBP agents. In the meantime, whatever is required from DHS, from Secretary Noem, from the Border Czar, and others will be provided by the Defense Department, because our mission is clear.
Okay, they did not answer that question. And that of course, you can't answer that question, because it can go multiple ways. If you say that the troops that are being sent from our federal government, right, or the military, literal military, if you're going to put them in some type of enforcement role, we're referring to like the Insurgency Act. Guys, no. No. We are not a third world nation, guys. All right, we don't have military walking around our streets with tanks and gigantic guns. Like, if you open Pandora's box, like even in this scenario, even in this specific scenario, nothing good comes from the Insurgency Act. Nothing. Not a single. Once you open that door into saying, you know what? Who cares about the Constitution, right? Let's go ahead and allow the U.S. military to function on U.S. soil. Guys, I don't think anyone. Well, hopefully you guys understand. I'm not going to sit here and say you guys don't understand, but we don't need that. Okay, we don't even need to set the precedent for that. Nope, forget that Insurgency Act, guys. Sorry, we need to come up with another solution. That's not the solution, right? Because that's going to be referenced. If that happens, we have to find a way to close Pandora's box, okay? Because then there'll be people and governors in the United States of America looking to quash or quell any type of rebellion or protest with the U.S. military. And then just to be like, listen, Insurgency Act, why not? Right? Let's just do it. It was done in 2026. Why not? Right? Guys, that would be crazy. We don't need that. I'm sorry. Like, I understand like what it looks like for let's say the cartel to kind of run up on, let's say, random US military at the border. I see it, right? Vanity. You see it and you're just like, oh no, we should mess with these guys. Okay? But actually activating them in the United States of America? Nah, bro. That's not it. That's not it, bro. I'm telling you. And then if they are active, they're going to walk into into Mexico, basically invading Mexico. Right? Basically. They're an invading force in Mexico. Like, look at how this looks. The optics is crazy, right? Do not allow the U.S. military to enter into Mexico by accident, like to accidentally invade Mexico, all right? Tom Homan said something interesting, super interesting here at the end. He basically mentioned, we're going to do whatever we need to do. I think he gave a hypothetical here. He said, wouldn't it be great if we could just end the cartels? Yeah, but not with the U.S. military, unless you're ready for that. Unless you have full-blown approval to enter into Mexico and kind of clean up the cartels. But I don't see how that's going to happen, an invading force on sovereign land. Like, I'm just trying to think about this and how, and like the geopolitics of this. Guys, there are a lot of super strong countries that do business in Mexico and that will not be happy with that. So we need to not start WW3 by accidentally invading Mexico, and then China gets involved in some manner, and then Russia gets involved in some manner, and then now we're sitting here doing all types of crazy battles, probably over Europe, because that's where we do WWs at. You get what I'm saying here, guys? I don't know. I'm not a super fan of the military being active. I don't know if you could tell me. Not a fan. That's a bad precedent. Really bad. We do not need an example of that happening in our modern day times, guys. But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music MrLboyd movie reacts, along with MrLboyd discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.